Today we are going to be discussing an introduction to the topic of growth rate and growth factor. There are a lot of different key factors to the subject, so we will be reiterating vocabulary frequently throughout the unit. Today we will be differentiating between growth rate and growth factor, as well as seeing how they work together. First, we're going to start with some definitions, just to kind of see how growth rate and growth factor are different. So we'll start with growth rate, and this refers to the percentage change of a specific variable within a time period. Now, I think it's very important to recognize the vocabulary within our vocabulary. We all know what percentage is, but that is going to be key for your answers when you are calculating growth rate. Growth factor, this refers to the multiplier that grows as some independent variable increases. Again, this multiplier is very key in this definition. Now, we are going to be looking at the equations and maybe an example for each of these. So to calculate growth rate, you start by subtracting the past value from the current value, as you can see here. Then you divide that number by the past value. Then you finally come down here and you multiply your answer by 100 to express it as a percentage. Because as we said in the definition before, growth rate does have to end as a percentage in order for it to be effective. For an example, we use population growth percentage because it is very commonly used. We use it to calculate the population growth. So as you can see down here, in order to calculate this real life example, you take the births and subtract the deaths and divide by population. Then you multiply it by 100 for your percentage. Moving on to growth factor. Some might ask, how do you find growth factor? Well, to get the population in 2001, for example, we'll just jump to our example, but in 2001, we would add 1 to the non-percentage growth rate, and then we would multiply that value times the initial population in 2000, and just to save some words, we'll refer to the sum of 1 plus the growth rate as the growth factor. So for our example, we'll just put it all together. We would take, let's just say the growth rate was 5%. We would take that percentage and we would put it back into decimal form right here, and we would add 1 to it in order to get our growth factor. And that's the differences and similarities between growth factor and growth rate.